So guys, is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3's beta any good? That's the question we are answering today. Now before we get into it, these are my opinions, of course. I've been playing Call of Duty since around about 2007, so since before the original Modern Warfare 2 came out. So I've seen my fair share of good and bad Call of Duty games, and of course the blah 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 about it being a beta, it might change. But guys, we all know what Call of Duty's like. This is most likely a demo, not a beta. So looking back at previous years, only minor changes will be coming. So first things first, let's talk about the good things, because it's not often we get to talk about the good things in Call of Duty. And first up, the game looks and feels great. The maps look fantastic. They've done a really good job at updating the maps and bringing them to life in this modern era. The themes suit the present day and they've left them relatively untouched. I mean, there's a couple of new usable doors dotted around, but there's nothing that really affects the flow of the game. Another bonus about the maps is because they are remastering maps from what I would describe as a fun Call of Duty, the maps are what they are. They haven't been designed with safe spaces in mind. The maps are no longer noob friendly like some of the maps in the recent Modern Warfare reboots are. The gunplay is also very good. In my opinion, the gunplay is exemplary. I can never say that word properly. The gunplay in Modern Warfare 3, in my opinion, should be how all first-person shooters should feel. It's smooth, the animations are near perfect, and the gun just feels great in your hands. I haven't noticed any bloom, but if there is bloom, it's very minimal, and the vision down sight is very good. One thing about the gunplay is I feel like the recoil is very manageable on the guns we've had access to in this beta, and that makes the game more friendly to newer players, which is what they want. So if you're new to the Call of Duty franchise and you're looking to get into a game, this is going to be a good one to do that. If you remove the movement aspect for a second, the learning curve for this game is pretty small, especially if you've dabbled in Modern Warfare 2, you're going to be able to get to grips with this game pretty quickly. Now, speaking of movement, the movement is on point. You don't feel slow or sluggish, the sliding is nice. This is the movement we should have got last year with Modern Warfare 2. Now, I won't discuss the movement too much because I'm not Shotzi, I'm no Joe Woe, I'm not breaking any ankles anytime soon. But for the average player, it's going to feel pretty quick, it's not boring, and it feels very good. There's also a few features in the beta that Call of Duty has been missing, and I say missing, I mean greatly missing in the last couple of years. We have the vote to skip feature, and I think this will become more prominent as the full game launches and we can cycle through more maps, but the vote to skip system is going to make things a lot more enjoyable. The maps we don't like, we don't have to play, that's it. The original minimap and red dots are back, so the map works as it is intended to, which makes gameplay much smoother and games less boring and less noob friendly. Now moving on to the time to kill and the 150 health. Now again, I think this is exemplary for the genre. It's a very good feel to it. If you hit your shots and move better than your enemy, then you will win the gunfight. It's how it should be. The hit registration is very good, as expected with a Call of Duty game. One small thing with the time to kill and the 150 health is I think the health regeneration may be a tad slow. I often find during the middle of a nice play with a couple of kills, if another enemy player gets involved, most of the time you will end up losing the fight. So we will come onto this topic in the bad section in a little bit more detail. One thing I have to give Call of Duty this year for this beta is the general experience of said beta. So far it's been pretty flawless. I haven't had any connection issues, there's been no server issues, I've been able to join my friends every time, on time and relatively quickly, which is a very good sign. And we often have problems with this subject going through betas in previous years, so this is a good sign going forward. And I think guys, that's pretty much it on the things that this beta is doing well. So let me know down below in the comments if you've thought of any more good points to add on to it. So now for the juicy part, the bad section. And if you've played the beta, you've probably felt this feeling before. Now don't get me wrong, the beta is polished, but it can be, after a while, pretty boring. Now I know it's a beta, they can't put everything in the game, I totally get it. But to only have 3 multiplayer maps with 3 different game modes to play and a handful of guns from each category of weapons, it gets pretty boring pretty quickly. And that's just a product of them gatekeeping the content, I get it. But the bigger picture of the problem that this creates is that we are playing a very cherry-picked version of this game. The maps in the beta are completely finished, the guns in the beta are completely finished, and there's no experimentation. The one thing that frustrates me with Call of Duty betas is that it's more like a playtest or a demo. If you're old enough to know what I mean here, it's just like one of those demo discs you got with a magazine when you were a kid. And only releasing cherry-picked content doesn't really fit the mold of what a beta is. We should be able to test guns, stress test maps, find the flaws in the game design, not rinse and repeat the same 3 maps over and over again on the same 3 game modes. Doesn't really help playtest the game. It doesn't really help let us give good feedback. And speaking of this rinse and repeat nature, the gate-kept content also breeds 2 more situations. The first one being, it creates a complete sweatfest. Everyone's running the same attachments on the striker with battle rage and the same perks. That's just what's going on right now. Within the first couple of hours, the so-called meta is found out. And that's it for the weekend then. That's just it. Everyone uses the same stuff every game, game in, game out. The progression in the beta also annoys me a lot. Why do we have to spend 2 hours to get to level 12 to unlock the attachments on a gun we've been using in the default class? It makes absolutely no sense. Why are all the attachments, perks, field upgrades, kill streaks, why are they all gate kept behind a progression wall in a beta? It almost feels like they're trying to entice people to play it more with the purpose of selling it better. I mean, that's not what a beta is. A beta is to sort out the issues in the game ahead of the release. It's not a beta. If you look at the X-Defiant beta, there was some serious problems with it. There was hit registration problems in the X-Defiant beta. And the community found that out really quickly and gave that feedback. Whereas this is just basically a marketing tool to sell you the game. Now, those are the generic problems with the entire experience. Now for the problems with the gameplay. And first up, one of my biggest issues is the audio needs a lot of work. It's a Call of Duty, the audio always needs work, but there's a lot of inconsistencies. The audio in general isn't great. Like, it's not the best sounding, it's not that crisp, it's a Sledgehammer game, it's not perfect anyway. But again, the footstep audio, volumes and positioning just sound not quite right. It's just not completely polished. And I think they need to work on that quite a lot. Next up is probably my biggest gripe with this game. They need to work on the spawns. If they want this multiplayer to succeed, this is an absolute must. The spawning system is quite obviously built on the squad spawning system, which I get, it has its benefits, I get that, but it needs a lot of work in this game. There's situations where enemies are spawning right next to you on massive maps like Estate, and when you think about it, that was one of the questions that was put forward to them when they announced all these remastered maps. How will game modes like Hardpoint work on these old maps that weren't designed with that game mode in mind? And the answer right now is badly. The spawns are ass. It's frustrating when the maps are already designed and the content was already there. All they had to do was copy and paste and change how they work with game modes, and they messed it up. It's frustrating, and even more frustrating when you're playing it, but they are ass. And it's not just enemy spawns which are frustrating, team spawning is also annoying as well. I play a very flanky play style, and up on screen you can see I'm playing on Estate here. It's the start of the game. I'm running as fast as I can towards the enemy side, and my teammates who have already died are spawning on me. So what it's doing is creating this kind of weird fighting cycle around the map. So you're not actually gaining any ground by flanking, you're just pretty much pushing everyone around in a circle. That's what I've noticed with this beta, is it's very focused on the main channel down the middle. If you're using any of the side channels, because of the squad spawning, it just pushes your team around in a circle basically, and A captures C, C captures A, and just goes round and round as you're trying to fight for B. Skill-based matchmaking is certainly back. We don't need to go into that. It's a closed access pre-order beta for the first couple of days on one console, so we know it's going to be super sweaty. And have a look at the scoreboards after the game. The teams are so balanced, it's creating a kind of cesspit of sweaty nerds. That's the only way I can describe it. Hopefully as the game opens up to more players, it becomes less sweaty and tedious, but right now it's just an absolute sweat fest. One minor thing that I picked up on is that the silencers are pretty useless and they suck ass. Tinfoil hat moment here, but is it because they don't want people to use silencers because you won't be on the minimap, so more players can see you when you fire your weapon? Now that the original minimap is back and the red dots are back, are they trying to force players away from the silencers so it becomes a little bit easier to locate you for newer players? Who knows, but don't use silencers, they suck. The next real problem, of course, we have to mention it, but I have downgraded it in its importance, is battle rage. Now, for those who haven't experienced this as of yet, Hopefully it's been nerfed by the time you get on the game and you don't really notice it that much, but Battle Rage is a piece of tactical equipment that can be used to boost health regeneration. Now in the first couple of hours this was completely busted, it was broken. I believe they have nerfed it now, so like I said, I've downgraded it in the importance of things to change. But this was a serious issue at the start of the beta. Go and watch some clips on YouTube, just type in Battle Rage Modern Warfare 3 and you'll see people just having constant gunfights with each other back and forth, trying to kill each other and they can't. And lastly, the navigation of the beta still sucks. The menus are still ass. They haven't moved away from the Hulu Netflix designed piece of ass. No one likes it. I don't know why they continue to go down this route. They haven't changed it. It's going to be coming with this next installment, so we're just going to have to get used to it, I think. But it does suck. No one likes it. And there we go, guys. By the time this video goes up, there will be still a couple of days left on the PlayStation beta, but it will be open access, so hopefully there'll be a few more players being able to test this game out. And of course, the open beta starts next weekend, so hopefully we can pick up a few more issues by the time that ends. Let me know if you have any opinions down in the comments below. Are you liking it? Are you disliking it? Do you think it's just another DLC on top of Modern Warfare 2? Let me know down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video or you agreed with any of the points that I've made during these 10 minutes or however long this video is going to be, again, let me know by dropping a like on it down below. Thank you for staying tuned to the video. As always, feel free to subscribe to the channel for all of the latest Call of Duty news, tips and tricks, how-tos, class setups, and much more.